The Gulf states understand that they have to cooperate with America and therefore cooperate with Israel, but they also know that Israel doesn't give a fuck about them and would treat them in the same exact way that they're treating Iran at a moment's notice. So from the state analysis, whether it be MBS or whether it be Erdogan, they are very fearful of the destruction of.
Biz bölgemizin tamamına olduğu gibi kardeş.
Cyber attack on Israeli train station. Breaking. Suspected cyber attack screens on train station in Israel. You must leave immediately. I don't know if this is real or not. It can be just to like terrify people. It could be AI. It could be just to scare people if it's real. Or it could be it could be like a psychological warfare to scare people if it's a real image.
İran halkına da bu Şiidir, bu Sünnidir.
Oh, Erdogan, by the way, came out and I guess he's a big Professor Jiang defender and said we will unite the Shias and the Sunnis under the banner of Pax Islamica. If tomorrow he comes out and says Judaism invented Islam, if he comes out and says Jews invented Islam, then we know he's a real ball knower, okay? Because apparently that's something that Professor Jiang has said. Mr. Predictive History. Yeah, he says this one is a Shia, this one is a Sunni. We're all Muslim.
Bu Türktür, bu Kürttür diye hiçbir zaman bakmıyoruz. Millet olarak bizim için Türk, Kürt, Arap, Şii, Sünni değil, sadece insan vardır. Her yanı başımızda, ister dünyanın öbür ucunda olsun, haksızlığa uğrayan, mağdur edilen, sıkıntı çeken kim varsa biz onun yanındayız. Komşumuz Irak'ta bunu yaptık. 15 sene evvel kıtlıkla boğuşan Somali'de bunu yaptık. 13,5 yıl boyunca komşumuz Suriye'de bunu yaptık. 5. yılına giren Rusya-Ukrayna arasındaki savaşta bunu yapıyoruz. Sudan'da, Lübnan'da, Yemen'de, Libya'da ve daha pek çok yerde bunu yaptık. Yapmaya da devam ediyoruz. Irk ayrımını, mezhep ayrımını, din, dil, köken ayrımını reddediyoruz. Daha önce de söyledim. Bugün üzerine
He's so woke, bro. Woke is back.
basarak tekrar ediyorum. Bizim Sünnilik, Şiilik gibi bir dinimiz yok. Bizim tek bir dinimiz var. O da İslam. Hangi iptal olursak olalım, biz bütünleştiren ortak paydamız yine İslam. Mezheplerimizden, kökenlerimizden önce hepimiz insanız ve Müslümanız. Hazreti Ali bizim, Hazreti Ömer de bizim, Hazreti Osman bizim, Hazreti Hasan ve Hüseyin de bizimdir. Hazreti Ayşe validemiz bizim.
Okay, I didn't even see the rest of this. I just heard the Sunni Shia. We're all. I didn't know he went that hard. Bro said Bro said we are Shia. Bro, what the? Bro, is Professor Jiang right? Is it Pax Islamica time? What the?
Zeynep annemiz de bizimdir. Özellikle bu dönemde bir annenin çocukları anlamına da gelen ümmet kavramının temsil ettiği manaya daha sıkı sarılmamız gerekiyor. Söylüyorum değerli kardeşlerim. Günlerde sosyal medyada mezhepçiliğin körüklendiğine, asırlık tartışmaların yeniden ısıtılmak istendiğine şahit oluyoruz. Savaşın bir cephesi olarak gördüğümüz bu tehlikeli tartışmalara karşı hem milletimizi hem de bölgedeki tüm kardeşlerimizi dikkatli olmaya çağırıyorum.
Why does the Prime
I mean, I'll be honest. This is literally his bread and butter. Anytime Turkey's at the table, this is Erdogan's bread and butter. His foreign policy, his like regional moves are the only thing that holds him alive. Okay? Is literally whenever shit like this happens, he's like, "Oh, hell yeah. I put another 5 years into my movement this way." as much as I despise him, he has a very pragmatic approach to his foreign policy, which is incredibly violent and completely unacceptable, of course, when it comes to, you know, dominating Kurdish regions and whatnot. But from the perspective of like keeping Turkey above water, while also simultaneously dealing with both sides of every conflict, this is what he's best at. All right, let's get back to the UK.
Minister, think now is the right time to increase the cost of petrol.
Prime Minister.
What's his purpose? For the people who are asking what was his purpose of that previous speech, it's just anti-Israel. He's just trying to whip up a base of support. First of all, he loves being the king of Muslims, okay? He is like Mr. Islamic Caliphate. It's not sincere, but it doesn't matter. It plays really well in the Ummah, okay? He loves presenting himself as like the protector of all Muslims everywhere. That's number one. And it plays really well. Like a lot of people think this guy is straight up like the Israel deleter, okay? He's not. But that's one of the reasons why he's talking like this. The other reason why he's talking like this is because he too has the same exact ambitions that Saudi Arabia has here. They want a weaker Iran because Iran is a regional competitive power, but they don't want a destroyed Iran. They don't want a destroyed Iran. Has the same exact ambitions that Saudi Arabia has here. They want a weaker Iran because Iran is a regional competitive power, but they don't want a destroyed Iran. They don't want a destroyed Iran for reasons. Because Iran, if destroyed, is going to cause a massive collapse of the entire region with 93 million people that are displaced, that can't live there any longer, a much bigger danger to other countries in the region, right? The other fear that Saudi Arabia and Turkey has is that Iran must remain a sovereign nation because a sovereign Iran is a pressure point against Israel. The Gulf states understand that they have to cooperate with America and therefore cooperate with Israel, but they also know that Israel doesn't give a fuck about them and would treat them in the same exact way that they're treating Iran at a moment's notice. So from the state analysis, whether it be MBS or whether it be Erdogan, they are very fearful of the destruction of Iran for a bunch of different reasons, and one of them is because Iran is a load-bearing sovereign nation in the region. Thank you, Rex Racer X, for the 50 gifted subs.
Mr. Speaker, we are not increasing the cost of petrol. We're absolutely clear in taking the measures that are necessary to deal with the impact of the conflict in Iran. We're dealing with that with other allies. We're taking the necessary action. But the best thing that we can do, Mr. Speaker, is to work with others to de-escalate the situation. And Mr. Speaker, as I said to the House last week, I took the decision that we should not join the initial US-Israeli offensive against Iran. The leader of the opposition attacked me for that decision relentlessly. She said that the UK should have joined the US and Israel in the initial offensive strikes. Mr. Speaker, then yesterday, in the wake of the economic consequences, the leader of the opposition totally abandoned her position. She told the BBC, I never said we should join. She told the BBC, I haven't said we should have gone in with the United States. That is the mother of all U-turns on the simple decision a Prime Minister ever has to take, whether to commit the United Kingdom to war or not.
Mr. Speaker, I think the mother of all U-turns is him saying that they're not increasing fuel duty. That is news to us because last week the Chancellor stood up and said the fuel duty was going to increase in September.
Mr. Speaker, no apology to our pilots who are risking their lives. And I'm not going to take lectures from someone who says we should join the war and a week later says, can I change my mind? I got that wrong. It is deeply embarrassing. But she's not the only one. Mr. Speaker, last week she's not the only one, the leader of reform. We should be part of this with the US and the Israelis. We have to get rid of the regime. We should do all we can to support the operation. I make that perfectly clear, he said. Until yesterday, screeching U-turn, we shouldn't get ourselves involved in another foreign war. Two parties packed with failed...
I can't believe they made Kid Starver look good. I cannot believe they made... The Tories and Reform are such monsters and so pathetic and so deeply unserious that they literally made Kid Starver look like a competent statesman. The future of the conservative movement is so broken in Europe, where your fascism is literally not about state sovereignty at all. It's about the destruction of it. The modern fascist movement in Europe is just MAGA. And it's so cucked to the mercy of a madman, an uncontrollable madman, who ironically is servile to Israel, but an uncontrollable madman nonetheless, that you end up coming across like a baboon if you immediately lean into it.
Tories, led by leaders who are not fit to be Prime Minister.
We begin with breaking news.
We're staying on top of that breaking news in the war in Iran. There are questions about Iran's potential plans to target the United States and reports about whether California could be a target in our coast.
This is such a bullshit story, dude. It's unbelievable.
KCRA3 is talking with all of our sources to independently verify these reports. And just within the last hour, our political director, Ashley Zavala, asked Governor Newsom about the potential public safety concern here in California.
And more concern about the extended range of the Iranian attacks.
Yeah, it's bullshit. One, Iran does not have the striking range to hit California, nor does it even have the range to hit Kaya, watch out. No. Iran cannot hit California even if it wanted to. Iran cannot hit California even if it wanted to. But Iran also has no ambitions of hitting American soil anyway. It's complete garbage. The story is complete garbage, unless they're trying to gear up for a false flag or something.
Not just in the Middle East, but to your point and question about the prospects that we could see things happen here in the homeland. And so that was highlighted with Austin in relationship to your question and concerns that we had at that moment, concerns that were brought to our SOC, our State Operations Center, with our team that's assembled, which is a multi-jurisdictional team. A lot of federal agencies that are part of our State Operations Center, a lot of experts in state, but as well as local law enforcement, and it's all around intelligence collecting, and it's all about a posture of preparedness for worst-case scenarios. So, no, we have been gaming those out for some time. As it relates to, again, what has been highlighted, again, it's not a surprise, and it's sort of large part of the larger spectrum of considerations that we have as it relates to doing what we can to support our federal partners and local partners at the state level in terms of what could happen next.
Well, the governor's Office of Emergency Services said in a statement, quote, the Cal OES Homeland Security Team is in regular coordination with federal, state, and local partners sharing information on potential threats as part of ongoing security efforts. And while we can't discuss sensitive details, Californians should know that this every day to keep people safe. California is prepared to protect its communities and will continue working closely with our federal partners, including the FBI, who is best positioned to speak to any specific intelligence. Now, we've also reached out to law enforcement across the state to find out what they've been told. We've received this statement from San Jose Police saying the department works closely with federal partners to stay informed about potential threats and intelligence that may impact our region. Quote, as a matter of practice, we do not comment on specific intelligence or alerts at this time. There is no known threat to our community. Now, the FBI declined to give KCRA3 any comment at this time. We're working with our news partners and law enforcement to verify all of this for you. We'll continue to push for answers throughout the day, and we'll bring it all here to you on air and online at kcra.com and the KCRA3.
On the 12th day of this conflict, it's fairly clear now that it's taking on the aspect of an asymmetrical war, where one side uses its natural advantages over the sheer power of the other side. And we've seen lots of strikes, as we expected to see, over the last 24 hours or so. So strikes all over the region, American strikes and Israeli strikes against Iran, Iranian strikes back against Iraq, and of course the warfare between Israel and Lebanon continues. In particular, we've seen
going back to the false flag story, it's total and utter bullshit, 100%, and it is virtually impossible for me to believe that if any sort of attack were to exist on LA soil, that I would see it as anything but a false flag in an effort to get Americans on board. Okay, to get Americans on board with a absurd and unimaginably unpopular war. Okay, Iran does not have the capabilities or the interest in striking Los Angeles, California. You don't understand. Iran's attack range is farther than you think. I just now saw a Shahed 136 drone hit the Chase Manhattan office in my neighborhood. This literally happened in my imagination. I believe like the longest range drone, the longest range that Iran has for its drones is 4,000 kilometers, which is you're gonna need to stop to refuel the drone twice to hit that, maybe even 6 times if it's actually 2,000 kilometers. No, you're talking about the ballistic munitions. The longest range that they have for their ballistic munitions, like their ballistic missiles, is 2,000 kilometers. Okay, so all of this is bullshit. All of this is total and utter bullshit. Francis Wolf says nobody believes this shit anymore, but it won't stop Mossad and the CIA from dropping a tactical nuke on Disneyland. IRGC LA Target 1. Please do not do that. IRGC, I know you're listening. I know you're like my number one watchers. Arakshi, Ali Largiani, the handsome guy that comes on and talks about how, you know, you're going to wage war against America. Please do not hit Spectrum because I need it. My internet is already dog shit. Okay. My internet is already dog shit as it is. Please don't do it. Okay. Dr. Jihad has spoken. So all jokes aside, they are not in striking range at all of Los Angeles or the United States of America mainland at all, right? They don't have it. They don't have the capabilities. They don't have the interest. They've never done something like this. So all of this is complete bullshit. What I am fearful of, however, is that this is signaling potentially a false flag style incident to try to get Americans to be terrified of and get on board with a war against Iran, right? But if you look at the actual article itself, if you read the fine print from the original LA Times article, it's clear that it was a random vibe and they have zero evidence Iran could or would do this, but it's essential to keep frightening, stupefied, and half paying attention Americans. Sources stressed the warning was cautionary and there was no indication Iran was planning an attack or that it could successfully launch one. We know Iran has an extensive presence in Mexico and South America. They have relationships, they have the drones, and now they have the incentive to conduct attacks. It's complete bullshit. At most, they would do cyber attacks. At most. And the cyber attacks would be proportionate to what the American and Israeli strikes are hitting on Iranian soil. That's part of what you have seen with the Stryker cybersecurity incident that took place earlier today. But don't let that stop you from feeling like you have some skin in the game, right? Don't be a fucking idiot, though. There is, and I'm gonna say this over and over again. There's no way to read this as like a sincere threat, and at worst, it is a legitimate threat for a psyop. Okay, that's what I'm fearful of. Americans hate this war. It's the lowest polled war in modern history. Absent public support, security state grifters, war lobbyists, and Zionist advocacy groups, the U.S. government is pushing this baseless paranoia to give the public the vague impression evil Iranians are menacing them. Right? That's what this is. We saw something similar after 9/11. 9/11 was already enough of a terrifying security incident for Americans. Americans had not been hit on the domestic home front since Pearl Harbor. But in order to universalize that fear, anthrax attacks took place. Many of it was thwarted. And the anthrax that was used on these anthrax mail attacks actually came from a very suspicious origin. Okay? Very suspicious origin, directly linked back to an FBI-funded lab. This played a major role. I think it was a Pentagon. Is it Fort Detrick, if I'm remembering it correctly. I might be remembering it incorrectly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was because you could identify the different strains of anthrax. Some Americans did die in the process, but while some Americans died in the process, many more Americans were terrified. Islamic terror was a universal fear now. It wasn't just New York City and the World Trade Towers that could be under attack. It could be your podunk, backwater, hillbilly town. Okay? Just so you understand. When the U.S. public is surveyed on Middle East wars, they repeatedly give some version of, I don't know why we are bombing people 6,000 miles away. How is this our problem? These vague threats are designed to correct this by bringing the war home, sowing panic, and promoting racism. That is precisely what it is. Then why are these 800 breathless articles? Then why are there 800 breathless articles about these threats? They emphasize there is currently no specific or credible threat tied to the Oscars, but heightened vigilance is necessary. It's a very unpopular war, and they're going to make it more popular. Hopefully they don't do this. But my fear is that although it's a very unpopular war, they're going to try to make it justifiable by bringing the war home. Little do they understand that in this current misinformation and media environment that is objectively chaotic, I don't think they have that motion. I don't think they have the capability. I think many people will look at this and go, that's a fucking psyop. That's a psyop. You killed American citizens and you did it to justify this war that we're waging at the behest of Israel that is deeply unpopular. I'm not buying it. Fuck that shit. Okay? I hope that they don't try some nonsense like this. Or even if they tried some nonsense like this, the sheer incompetence of our administrative apparatus ends up being their own demise, ends up leading to their own demise, and they just fail to do it. And they're outed in the process, and people punish them for it. When that was happening, I didn't understand how far countries were, and I was scared anthrax every time mail came in. Chile, kid me, dumb as fuck. Yeah. Anyway, that's Iran's longest range Shahed drones can reach 2,500 kilometers. That barely gets you to Athens, not Los Angeles. Okay? It's complete bullshit. Complete fucking bullshit. The threat report claimed that they would use civilian cargo ships and launch drones from the Pacific Ocean is literally fucking world in conflict. Yeah, it's nutty. So sending drones for some ship or boat near the coast is impossible, you think? Yes. I do think that. Yes, I do. For two reasons. Number one, with what capabilities? What capabilities does Iran have? There's one country in that region that is also a theocracy, a nuclear armed theocracy that has capabilities such as that. Iran is not one of them. I'm talking about Israel. Israel has the capabilities of doing such a thing. Iran does not. You guys are insane. Look at a fucking map of the world, please. Iran intercepted logistical supply chains and embedded their drone launching operations into a carrier that is going across the Pacific Ocean from where, who knows? Like, what regional ally does Iran have to be able to, add these drones and the launcher capabilities into these containers without anyone figuring it out in the process? Okay? And they're using that on especially the fucking West Coast. Not using those capabilities in the Atlantic, but instead in the Pacific. Like, who do you think they would hit? Do you think they would try to hit Washington, D.C. or New York City? Or do you think they would hit California? It's completely ridiculous. Like, the very fact that I'm even entertaining this capability as though it's like something, as though there's like a real possibility. Ukraine was able to do a similar operation with hidden drones. Ukraine, that is backed to the fucking hilt by every Western nation, was capable of conducting a clandestine operation by sending trucks into Russia. Ukraine and Russia are next to one another. Look at a fucking map. Are you stupid? Ukraine has a land border with Russia. Hello? Are you fucking insane? Now I am reminded of the drone panic that took place in New Jersey. And at the time, they were talking about how these are Iranian drone swarms. Remember? Now we know why. I don't often traffic in the realm of conspiracy theories, but Kind of feels strange that they already got a lot of Americans to panic about Iranian drones and Chinese balloons flying overhead, but especially the supposed Iranian drone swarm that took place over the American East Coast airspace. Who cares if Iran is capable? The CIA and Trump will do it themselves with this false flag and blame it on Iran anyways. The average American doesn't know any better. They will automatically believe it and hate on Iran. Come on, it won't take much. I mean, just as people understand, like, immediately cut away at the FBI and the state's narrative on Charlie Kirk's assassination, when there was like plenty of fucking evidence to suggest that Charlie Kirk wasn't assassinated by the state of Israel. I don't think people are gonna be as ready to eat this propaganda if that happened. I hope that it's not even a fucking indication that there will be a false flag and they're just trying to whip up people into a frenzy to create a panic. But even Barry Weiss's CBS News has undermined this reporting. So do with that information what you will.
Go. Tell me.
Multiple U.S. and state law enforcement and intel officials told CBS News there's no credible intelligence underpinning the bulletin distributed on the unverified possibility that Iran could retaliate for American attacks by launching drones at the West Coast. This is not actionable, a California-based federal law enforcement official told CBS. All this means is we got this information and we want to get it out to law enforcement executives to make sure they're up to speed on it. Another California law enforcement official said there's absolutely nothing more to it. The bulletin to local law enforcement by the FBI's Los Angeles division stemmed from an apparent tip that surfaced prior to the Iranian conflict. It's ridiculous. It's too obvious they had to kill it. Why do they need a false flag for a war that already started? What do you mean? The public is not on board with it. God forbid people start questioning why we're doing it and start protesting, and it becomes, it snowballs into something that's huge. Also, this way you can get popular mobilization for this deeply unpopular war for boots on the ground. We haven't sent troops yet. What's the public going to do? Americans don't care about anything or have power. I mean, this is, they're doing regime change the old-fashioned way still, I guess. I'm just saying, I don't believe that this is going to happen. I'm just saying, if it does happen, it'll be very tough to convince Americans that this is actually Iran's doing and not like a CIA Mossad collaborative effort to unjustifiable and very unpopular war to escalate and heighten the tensions around this conflict and make Americans get on board with boots on the ground. Americans love revenge. See? Look, this fucking moron is already ready. To be honest, if our nation's borders were actually attacked, me and a lot of people would be for the war. You're gonna fucking die, okay, Neek Skit? You're gonna die. Have fun dying for Israel, dumbass ROTC. I'm over here explaining exactly how this would be, exactly why an incident such as this one would be initiated. And Neek Skit's already being like, yeah, dude, I don't care if it's a fucking false flag. I'm still gonna assume it's Iran and I'm gonna go to war. I think you're overestimating American intelligence. I'm not. I'm estimating the American tendency to no longer believe in mainstream narratives and the American tendency to also be frustrated with Israel and assume that Israel is responsible for such a thing. Here.
Go. Tell me.
No, I just want to tell you one story about Israel. In the 1990s, the head of Hamas was a guy named Khalid Mashal. And he was based in Jordan at the time, and he comes out. He's driving his kids to work and then to school, and he gets out of the car with his bodyguards. And these two guys posing as tourists come up and they spray something in his ear, and it was a poison, and it sends Khalid Mashal into a coma. And then there was a pursuit, and his bodyguards and Jordanian police end up tackling and getting the guys. And it turns out that they were Mossad agents. The king of Jordan then, and this is a public story, people can read about this, there's been documentaries made about it. The king of Jordan then says, we're going to cancel our treaty with Israel, and we're going to execute these agents if Netanyahu, he was prime minister at the time in the 90s, if Netanyahu doesn't give us the antidote to resurrect Khalid Mashal. The head of Mossad gets on a plane from Israel, flies to Jordan to deliver the antidote to save Khalid Mashal's life. And Khalid Mashal is still alive to this day. I just interviewed him, a couple of months ago. But the nature of what Israel is able to do, that's one of the most sort of famous known episodes. Israel has deep penetration throughout the Arab world, and there are many cases where they conduct operations and
but
they get
not
caught
here in America.
where the world never
no
actually hears about
penetration
it.
here, and that's what I'm proud of. You know, these other countries fell for it, but us, we didn't. And how easy would it have been for us to fall for it?
Before people get mad at Tim Dillon, he's obviously fucking being sarcastic. Why the fuck is he on this call? Tim Dillon interviewed the Dropside Newsboys, which, much respect to Tim. No, he's not reacting. No, they did an interview. Hezbollah just launched a combined attack reaching all the way to Tel Aviv. It was followed up by another attack by Iran and new waves of attacks on the UAE. Trey Inks reported that there was an explosion just now in Tel Aviv due to Hezbollah rocket fire. Shortly after, an early alert went out for missile fire from Iran. Check my logs. Drop site confirmed. Confirm what? Verify video. The newest wave from an hour ago. Oh, IRGC Wave 40 Operation True Promise 4 targets more than 50 sites. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said the 40th wave of Operation True Promise 4 targeted more than 50 sites across Israel in a coordinated attack with the Hezbollah. IRGC said the operation involved a 5-hour barrage using Qatar Imad, Khaybar Shekan, and Fatah missiles, along with drones and attack missiles launched by Hezbollah. According to the statement, strikes hit military sites across Israel from Haifa in the north, Tel Aviv in the center, and Beersheba in the south. The IRGC also claimed its missile struck U.S. bases at El Azraq in Jordan and Al Qasr in Saudi Arabia. The statement said missile launches from Iran towards Israel increased significantly over the past 24 hours, adding that painful strikes will continue. But you told me that Iran was running out of missiles? No, I didn't say Iran was running out of missiles. You don't know how to listen to my fucking words. I said Iran is not running out of missiles at all. However, America and Israel are able to successfully close off the openings of the caves that they come out of. I never said the Iranian missile stockpile is depleted. I simply said, judging by the frequency and the munitions that are used up until this last wave, the munitions that they were using were the cluster ones. Okay? If you want to actually diminish the supply that Israel has, if you want to diminish their stockpile of defensive missiles, you have like this. Okay? This is the first time that they've gone back up on the intensity, the frequency, and the diversity of the missiles being used. Since the first day that Iran launched retaliatory strikes, they have not had this much intensity in their striking of Israel. If their goal was to deteriorate and destroy the existing stockpile of Israeli defenses, then they would be using something beyond the cluster munitions, because the cluster munitions are virtually impossible to intercept. Okay? So what they're supposed to do, like with the Iranian capabilities that they have, what they're supposed to do is just like hit volley after volley after volley, like big waves, dumping a lot of their older munitions on top of Israel to overwhelm their defenses and to waste their defenses, right? Yes, it's not cluster munitions, they're MIRVs. Cluster munitions are indiscriminate and often have a huge dud rate. Yeah, okay. Chatter, it's a distinction without a difference if you're fucking exploding the MIRVs at the level that they're at, the height that they're exploding them at, okay? It doesn't fucking matter. No, this chatter is not wrong. Technically, it's like a shotgun missile, okay? What the Iranians are using are literally like a shotgun. What it's supposed to use, what it's supposed to do is explode close to the impact zone, so you can actually take out troop positions, or you can spread it. You can spread the damage like buckshot, basically. But the reason why they're exploding those missiles at the height that they're exploding them at is because they want to basically utilize it like a cluster munition. They're trying to spread it to the best of their ability in an effort to stop the interceptions and continue peppering the Israeli skyline. Okay, that's it. I'm not even a fucking missile autist, and I know this. Not buckshot, birdshot. Sorry. They individually target the same area, don't they? Usual cluster munitions are just spray of tiny bombs. These, as far as I have heard, can individually target, so they're a cluster of warheads, not cluster munitions. No, they're the place that they are, the way that they're using these missiles implies that like they're trying to use it like cluster munitions. Why is Iran's air defense so weak? What are you talking about? Air defense so weak? Iran is massive. Iran is vast. Okay? Iran doesn't have stationary air defenses because stationary air defenses would get fucking destroyed in the second airstrike that Israel commits. So what they have instead is numerous capabilities, obviously, like many of which are mobile. They have mobile anti-aircraft defenses that they deploy from time to time, sporadically, in an effort to preserve their munitions, but also in an effort to maximize their utility. Okay, it's not about weakness necessarily. It's just, you know, there's obviously limitations with how large an area that Iran occupies. The USA and Israel keep on saying they have air superiority over Iranian cities. They do. But it doesn't matter because the fucking Basij and the IRGC forces are not sitting at their fucking bases. So it doesn't even matter if they strike the areas that they normally would occupy. It does nothing. America and Israel are trying to do a couple different things. One of them is to basically kill as many standing military operatives as they can, but they can't actually do that because Iran's not fucking stupid. They already dispersed their people. They're not sitting in a fucking, I mean, the police probably are sitting in the police precinct because they're civilians, right? They're like a part of civilian law enforcement. But as far as like the IRGC and the military goes, like they're not sitting around in their barracks waiting to get bombed. America does not have complete air superiority over Iran. How much would it cost to have a working Iron Dome over Tehran? Brother, Israel has one of the best airspaces, despite the fact that it's fucking tiny. Israel is a tiny country, okay? Size of Israel, tiny nation, size of New Jersey. And yet it has, or had, one of the best defended airspaces in the planet. Like, it's up there with fucking Moscow, okay? And the only reason why Israel is able to have this incredibly airspace is because of the unlimited funds that it gets from the United States of America. So think about it. Like, the costs are unbelievable. No other country has that technology. No other country has that technology. Only Israel has it. Israel has refused to let Kiev have that technology, even though it's an American. It's literally funded by America, and it was invented in coordination with the Israeli defense sector. So Americans also worked on it, and yet Israel has refused to allow Ukraine to have it, or Ukraine to place it in places like Kiev and in other like densely populated areas. Part of that also is because just having an Iron Dome is not enough. You also have to steadily supply it with Tamir interceptors, for example, right? And those are expensive, and you constantly are running out. America does not have the capability of funneling all the Tamir interceptors to both Israel and and Ukraine at the same time. 90% intercept rate is way fucking worse than the 100% intercept rate of preventing other nations from wanting to bomb you by not colonizing them. Yes, that's true. By the way, New York Post foreign policy NatSec says the Iron Dome could not stop about half the 100 rockets Hezbollah just launched at Israel just a few hours ago. So their capabilities are diminishing as well. Anyway, the other side of this is also that in order to protect this like tiny fucking area, the billions, the tens of billions of dollars that go into it is unheard of. And not only are we spending tens of billions of dollars protecting this tiny fucking airspace, but also on top of that, you have radar systems that span all across the region from Oman to motherfucking Turkey. Okay, early advanced warning systems, SATCOMs, and numerous other anti-missile defense systems that have to be stationed next to those radar facilities, otherwise they get blown up in the way that Iran has blown them up. So like the amount of military force necessary to protect such a tiny fucking sliver of land is unbelievable. And it has taken Iran 11 days to put a dent in it, regardless, with the you know, with the missile barrage that they've done over and over again, with the Shahed drone strikes that they've done over and over again. So obviously, it's not replicable by any other fucking country if it's barely holding together with the most expensive and most expansive military apparatus on the fucking planet, unilaterally deciding to only defend this place. Okay? From the latest launch, and Israeli sensors were not able to hide this one. Here are some of the missiles that went through, the Hezbollah missiles that went through. Notice how the fucking alerts come after the first strike, by the way. That is because Iran has been able to successfully shut off the eyes and ears. Okay? That's what happens when your radars are down, and therefore there is a major delay in your sentry system that you have. Look at the latest tweet. This isn't the one. First video shows Hezbollah missile getting through. Second video is from Kirkuk. Image reportedly of a strike in Dubai in an official statement. Look at the latest tweet. This isn't the one. Wait, isn't this it? Oh, this one. No, that's in image reportedly of a strike in Dubai. That's Dubai. And this is Kirkuk. The sirens are already going off, though. Bro, they have literally openly admitted that. The Iranian government has openly admitted that they've targeted the radar systems of their missile shield of the fake Zionist regime. The air defense capability of the regime has been severely reduced. And the sky of the occupied territories is under the powerful roar of Iranian missiles and drones. This was from 5 days ago. And since then they've taken out even more fucking satellites inside of Israel. This is from northern Israel. Hezbollah launched a massive barrage of 100 rockets at numerous cities, coinciding with ballistic missiles fire from Iran at the area. 2 people were lightly wounded by shrapnel. But these are successful intercepts. How did Iran know where the Iron Dome radars are? I thought that was super confidential. What do you mean? Iran also has fucking spying capabilities inside of Israel, chatter. Like, sure, Mossad has been able to deeply penetrate Iranian society, but half of these fucking radars are on bases anyway. And Iran does have intelligence capabilities. They have agents inside of Israel. Of course, Iran has spies in Israel, chat. They can get intelligence from Russia. They can get intelligence from China. I don't know to what degree. And then outside of that, they have their own spying capabilities as well. And they have great cyber warfare. Handala is obviously one of them. No injuries are reported following the concurrent Iranian ballistic missile and Hezbollah rocket fire on central Israel. Some projectiles were intercepted according to initial military assessments. Police say damage was caused by impact in central Israel. Fragments following the interceptions also reportedly fell in several areas. Sirens have sounded across central Israel and the Jerusalem area, as well as parts of the south. Yeah, Haaretz basically reported on it. They said there's a hole in Israel's early warning system and its missile defense batteries are at risk as well. It's because they won't release the hostages, the Hamastages. Have you ever considered working a blue-collar job like construction? Are you too gay to do that? Yes, I love sucking on penises. That's why I haven't considered working a blue-collar job like construction. Yeah, as though there aren't gay workers. 2013 account? Yeah, that's a fucking burnt peanut Tel Aviv subscriber. New announcement from President Trump. President Trump has authorized the United States to release 172 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. There it is. I'm gay and do a blue-collar job. It's not correlated. Yeah. Once again, I think like many of the Muslim countries that America has dominated and destroyed have unfortunately been kept down by occupations of different sorts for years and years, and don't have the same sovereignty mentality that Iran has. So many people think this is going to be like Iraq. This is going to be like Afghanistan. They don't understand that Iran is a totally sovereign country, a sovereign nation that had a successful anti-imperialist revolution. The revolutionary spirit, regardless of the repressive nature of the IRGC or the state currently, still lives on in the heart of all Iranians. Iranians are very resilient people, but it's a nation state. There's a difference between a regional power that is a a sovereign nation state and a country that has been dominated by first the USSR and then the United States of America with boots on the ground military warfare. Like, it's not, you know, it's, if you try to compare it to like Libya, if you try to compare it to Syria, if you try to compare it to Iraq, if you try to compare it to Afghanistan, you're going to be surprised. And it seems maybe many of our generals, or maybe not the generals, but many of the people in charge of this Operation Epic Fail were of that mindset where they thought, oh, these are barbaric Muslims. They will be incredibly easy to dominate. They will drop their weapons and run away. They will not have any contingency plans. We will decapitate their entire leadership. We will kill their high-ranking generals in the IRGC, and they will be confused. They thought it would be like Hezbollah. Now, this isn't to say Hezbollah is not a sophisticated military operation either. They certainly are, as you can see. But Hezbollah is a paramilitary attached to an active party in the Lebanese parliament. Okay? They're not a sovereign state. Even the Houthis are not a fully fleshed out state, and yet their capabilities are significantly larger than Hezbollah. Okay? But when you talk about like an actual sovereign nation state, of course their capabilities are going to be infinite in comparison to a paramilitary movement like Hezbollah. The Houthis have more capabilities than Hezbollah. They have more freedom than Hezbollah. Like, for example, the Houthis have loitering anti-aircraft systems, right? Hezbollah doesn't. Hezbollah's anti-air defense is marginal in comparison to what you can send to the Houthis. Hezbollah isn't backed by the Lebanese army. It's not only is it not backed by... Hezbollah has legit ballistic capabilities, and so do the Houthis, but it's much easier to send legitimate ballistic capabilities to the Houthis than it is to Hezbollah. That's the problem. And it's become impossible to do so now that the land bridge between Iran and Lebanon has been disconnected. Syria no longer is a territory that you can use in your supply chain. It's become impossible for Hezbollah to continue getting more weapons from Iran. Because Yemen has a weaker government than Lebanon, right? No, Yemen's government is Ansar Allah. I'm saying that Ansar Allah has... The Houthis are the government, but they are a weaker government in comparison to the IRGC, in comparison to the Islamic Republic that is a strong government. It's a sovereign state. The Houthis are barely a state at this point. They are the victors of a civil war that took place with numerous other foreign actors involved in it. They aren't solidified in their power yet. No, I think they have solidified plenty of power at this point. It's just that, I mean, their capabilities are limited because they're a new government. And even with their limitations, they were able to defeat America twice. So, you know, Ansar Allah is a force to be reckoned with, really. Held together by sheer will, okay? That's it. And like, the Houthis don't control all of Yemen. They only control North Yemen. South Yemen is totally different leadership. Yes.
Strike on the Shabaya oil field in between Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. We've seen further north strikes in the area of Iraq, and that's a separate possible part of the war that may begin against Baghdad International Airport.
Oh my God. New U.S. intelligence assesses that Iran's leadership remains largely intact and the regime is not at risk of collapse after nearly 2 weeks of U.S. and Israeli bombardment, according to 3 sources familiar with the assessments. No way. I'll take it one step further. There was a Financial Times report on this as well that showed, that, guess what? A lot of the people were fucking duped. A lot of the people in Iran that were primed and tuned into Israeli and numerous Gulf state media that was trying to do psyop after psyop to gear them up for Israel saving them were fucking duped. It turns out there are a lot of people in Iran who legitimately hate the regime that thought that Israel and America would actually come to save them. And then when Israel blew up the oil refineries in Tehran and engaged in chemical warfare against 10 million plus Iranians, they very quickly realized, oh my God, they're not here to save us at all. And the only solution that we have is, and this might come as a surprise to you once again, exactly what I've been saying for the past fucking month or so, the regime remaining intact. Does anyone have the Financial Times reporting on this? Oh, here it is. Good journalism from the Financial Times, featuring interviews with a number of hardcore anti-regime Iranians. These Iranians initially welcomed the U.S.-Israeli war, yet quickly turned on the war and came to resent the warmongering monarchists in the West / Pahlavi. Meanwhile, monarchists support Pahlavi and back the U.S. and Israeli intervention despite its toll, but analysts believe the exiled royal may have lost support from more recent converts to his cause as the brutal reality of war sets in. The majority of Iranians who see the January killings as unforgivable are lost over how to push for change. This includes Sarah, a teacher in her 40s who once hoped for the regime's overthrow but now admits she has changed her mind. I've come to terms with the bitter reality. The Islamic Republic is resilient, she said. I never thought I'd say this, but if someone from within the regime becomes a real reformer, why not? In the end, we just want peace and welfare. Marjan, a housewife, could not hide her emotions when the news of Hamas she had believed it would usher in the regime's collapse. Now I wonder, even if the Islamic Republic falls, what will we inherit? A land in ruins. A big part of the reason why, and this is something that like my Iranian chatters from Iran kept reporting over and over again, was that a lot of the anti-IRGC, anti-regime media, backed by both the Gulf states and also Israel and the United States of America, were constantly telling people inside of Iran that their liberation would come by American and Israeli intervention. They primed them up. They primed them up into believing that America and Israel genuinely had the intention of saving them. And given the intensity of the IRGC's repressive nature, they believed it because they were fucking desperate. But it turns out, of course, bombing campaigns in the fucking heart of Iran and Tehran and Isfahan very quickly changed their attitude. Yeah, Iran International is one of these outlets. Yes, Iran International, the pro-Israel, pro-monarchy news channel. It probably didn't help that a lot of diaspora relatives of people living in Iran were openly dancing in the fucking streets as Iranians were learning the news that 160 little schoolgirls had been bombed in the first fucking salvo. I said this over and over and over again. I tried to warn people. They didn't fucking understand it. I called it because I've experienced something not identical, not to the same degree, not to the same severity, but I've seen something that happened in Turkey that was not dissimilar to this. Turkish people who fucking hate Erdogan, myself included, okay, experienced, I was in America at the time, but Turkish people in Turkey experienced a very violent coup attempt by a parallel state that was designed by the United States of America. And in the aftermath of that failed coup, Turks actually hardened their support for Erdogan. It gave a lifeline to his dying movement. He was able to successfully put together a referendum and change the Turkish constitution from a parliamentary system to a presidential one. He was able to basically destroy the independence of the military piece by piece. He did that because he had real fucking momentum behind him after the coup. The very bloody, very deadly coup backfired. So while Iranian International and outlets such as that one, backed by the American state, backed by the Israeli state, has the capacity to radicalize the diaspora Iranians, and maybe even has the capacity to radicalize Iranians in Iran, who already are experiencing that repression from the state, who have their friends arrested, sometimes tortured, who have every right to be frustrated and angry at the state for its repression. They were the ones who experienced the bombing campaigns, and they saw their relatives in the Western world celebrate and dance over their graves. It's going to be very hard to whip up popular support and mobilization when the forces that are demanding you to mobilize have no investment whatsoever in a sovereign nation state's development in the aftermath of its bombing campaigns. When Israel, that is leading the charge, is very clearly trying to create a failed state. Iranians are too smart to fall for that bullshit. Even if they hate their own regime, even if they hate the IRGC, they're understandably going to fucking hate the Israeli government and the American government a lot more. Go fight for Iran then, you terrorist. You're saying a whole bunch of fucking nothing. Chatter, you're an Amerifat. And therefore, you will never understand what it feels like to fight for something. What you fight for is McDonald's. What you fight for is SpongeBob. Okay? And in most circumstances, you don't even have to fight for it. Some other fucking poor dipshit from Iowa will fight for you. And they're not even fighting for you. They're fighting for the same forces of capital. But at least you can sleep comfortably at home at night with the knowledge that, you know, our enemies are being destroyed. They can steal all your money and reappropriate all of your fucking productive output back into this endless militarism so that the military-industrial complex can turn profit year over year. Okay? Don't worry. Your jalapeno poppers are safe. I know it's very difficult for you to comprehend what I'm talking about because you've never experienced an alien superpower seeking out the destruction of everything that you hold near and dear. And therefore, you will never understand it. Okay? Plus, you have nothing that you have nothing you hold dear for yourself anyway. Like I said, that's why you got SpongeBob and Spider-Man. SpongeBob abi yapma. Sünger Bob kare pantolon abi.
Now, the brilliance of the Trump plan to have strategic control of key waterways, this cannot be understated. And the press doesn't seem to get this, so let me help them tonight. I'm talking...
Is the same calculation for me as an Egyptian. I fucking hate Sisi, but if America and Israel tried to do regime change here, I would become the regime's strongest soldier. Brother doesn't understand that the regime change already happened. Dog, the regime is already controlling you. The American and Israel-backed regime is literally in charge right now. I hate to report this to you, Egyptian chatter, but it already happened. Okay? It quite literally happened. There was a point in time where Egypt almost had democracy, and that was a bridge too far for Israel. It was a bridge too far for America, and Sisi is the guy that they put in charge. Oh, he's Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood, they said. Scary. I know, man, but it can always get worse, right? I mean, I don't know if it can get worse than Sisi, I'm going to be honest. There's a reason why it's not happening, right?
The Strait of Malacca in Indonesia, the Panama Canal, remember China wanted it, and now preventing Iran from choking off the Strait of Hormuz with an eventual nuclear threat also.
No, dipshit, it can get worse. Yeah, what the fuck? I'm Egyptian. Fuck you talking about? Bro, what in the fuck? What in the fuck? No, dipshit, it can get worse than this, you dumbass. I mean, you're already in it. There's a reason why you're not being destabilized actively and being bombed actively. It's because you already have a pliant regime that is totally servile to the needs of Israel and America. Egypt executed its first democratically elected leader, and he, Mohammed Morsi, was a professor of civil engineering at Cal State Northridge. That's another thing that I find really funny is that like the Iranian government, like when you look at Pete Hegseth and you look at Donald Trump, and then you compare them to like who runs the Iranian government. And it's so funny because like Ali Larijani is like a Kantian philosopher. Okay. These are people that like came to the United States of America, came to the West, and didn't just like get their PhDs here, but they also taught in American and like Western universities. So it's pretty funny when you hear someone like Arakshi communicate the desires of the state in Western media, and everyone's like, wow, he's so handsome. It's like, he's so smart. What the fuck? It's like, yeah, he is. Bro, look at Arakshi's dissertation topic. It's insane. I know. It's political Islam, right? Sisi, yes. Sisi, yes. Morsi, no. Morsi, no. Shut up your moose, Obama. Breaking 2 oil tankers, U.S.-owned Safisa and Vishnu and Greek-owned Zephyros were attacked near Iraq in the Persian Gulf. It feels bad, man. I mean, look, eventually something will break in Egypt. There's no shot, right? Egypt will have a revolution once again. There is no doubt in my mind. The state is far too fucking corrupt and far too incompetent for the population not to rise up. It's coming. I just don't know exactly when. Maybe Egyptians will say no, but 100%, there is no way that they can keep controlling the country, especially with the dire economic conditions that Egyptians are facing. I don't think it's, I think it's eventually going to come. Bro, they literally took over like a police precinct because they were mad that, people were not allowing safe passage over the Rafah border. Like the Egyptian government and the Egyptian military was refusing to allow entry through the Rafah border. So people got so fucking frustrated that they militarily took over a fucking police precinct. This doesn't happen in a country that is stable, okay? My guess is a popular uprising ending in a palace coup. Yeah, 100%. There will be inevitably a popular uprising in the state of Egypt. Israel will do everything in its power to stop it, but obviously they're not dedicated enough to like offer Egypt any sort of fucking economic improvements. So Egypt is prime for revolution. The other place is Jordan. Mark my fucking words. And it turns out Bahrain too, which ironically enough is now getting help from Jordanian forces that work to squash any sort of fucking anti-government protests or pro-Palestinian protests in Jordan. This is what the chatter was talking about.
ورسالة بقى لأوباما. Listen, your Obama. We are Egyptian women. You are, listen, Obama. Shut up your mouth, Obama. Shut up your mouth, Obama. Sisi yes, Sisi yes. مرسي نو مرسي نو سيسي يس سيسي يس مرسي نو مرسي نو ورسالة لك يا جلد الحنطور مهما تلف ومهما تدور مش هنرجع المعزول.
Shut up your mouth, Obama. Anyway, here, let's hear what kind of pro-regime propaganda we got in store for us today.
Now,
Bro, he was in Hebron, Kentucky. Oh my God.
Brilliance of the Trump plan to have strategic control of key waterways, this cannot be understated. And the press doesn't seem to get this, so let me help them tonight. I'm talking the Strait of Malacca in Indonesia, the Panama Canal, remember China wanted it, and now preventing Iran from choking off the Strait of Hormuz with an eventual nuclear threat also hanging over our heads. So if bad actors manage to take control in any of those key oil routes, it would be a living nightmare. That wouldn't it? So it looks like Donald Trump, his team, the U.S. military, and the American taxpayer may have saved the world with Operation Epic Fury. Why do we think China has been scrambling to fill its own oil reserves, by the way? Obviously, President Xi knew Iran would eventually try to take the Strait of Hormuz.
Dude, America, we just like invent a totally alternative reality in which we're fucking absolutely cooking, okay? Like the entire world could be collapsing around us in real time, as it kind of is, right? American military might and American military capabilities have diminished drastically. America's force projection capabilities have been destroyed by a country that we have economically destroyed for decades now, okay? Energy markets are on fire, a larger crisis than when Russia invaded Ukraine. And you got dumb fucks on American television being like, we're fucking killing it, dude. Have you guys seen the epic clip compilations of blowing up Iranian jet skis, dude? Yeah, they better not close the Strait of Hormuz. My sources are telling me the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Well, we'll open it right now, dude. We'll fucking open it right now. We'll pry it. We'll destroy it, dude. We'll fucking kill them. We got so much hype and aura moments. It's like, how can people not see that this is just a coping mechanism? It is kind of alarming that people are so desperate to hold on to maximalist cope. People are so goddamn desperate that they might as well be doing this. This is a joke, obviously. Worst case scenario, we can just make a new strait. Shouldn't take long once we unleash the productivity boosting powers of AI. Maybe a day or two at most. But is crazy, dude. I mean, this is what it looks like. Look, I said this earlier. Israel wanted to get away with conquering the region with no pushback, so it chose to pursue its lifelong goal of destroying the one sovereign country that isn't under the U.S. security banner. And now the global energy markets are on fire. When will we say enough is enough? Like, look at this. These are the images coming out of the Strait of Hormuz right now. Okay? This is what it fucking looks like. Ships are on fire. Nobody's passing. And America has no plan to open the Strait of Hormuz. They have no control over this at all. He saw your QRT and said, I'm fucked. You and Schmondrick need to manage Israel's foreign relations. Prepare the electro jihad. This is about the craziest crossover I've ever seen in my life. Not sure what to think about this. You've reached the Twitter peak. Goy, I'm crying. He thinks you are coming for him. He doesn't realize that I think he's the only funny Israeli on the planet, perhaps. I don't even care if this guy is like sincerely a psychopath or not. It's just fucking hilarious. I'm going to run it again. We got to play it one more time. Okay, come on. I love this fucking video so much. It gives me so much joy. Look. He follows Epstein, which is very funny. What do you mean? Destiny is Israel's favorite pedophilic defender. Of course he fucking follows Destiny.
בית מלון, שימו לב, בית מלון, ערבים, משטרה, ערבים, מג"ב, ערבים, שב"ס, ערבים, בית מרקחת, ערבים, נהגי מוניות, ערבים, אוטובוסים, ערבים, בית חולים, כל הרופאים, ערבים, דוקטור מסראווה, דוקטור ג'יהאד, דוקטור מרווד למשרד. מה זה, כפר קאסם?
I fucking love that shit, dude. It's awesome. Rabbi Avraham Baruch. Otobusi? Yeah, that was Bella Hadid's dad, Mohammed Hadid. These guys in Israel have like common villains. I'm one of them, which is awesome. I thought the Jews ran everything. No, it's the Arabs. The Jews run everything in Israel is what we previously thought. Turns out they have their own version of that. They say the Arabs run everything in Israel. But yeah, what is this? Are they pro or against HasanAbi? What are you talking about? There are like 12 total people in Israel that like me. They are the only anti-Zionists in Israel. The rest of the state. And I would normally say most people in Israel don't know who the fuck I am, or most people in insert whatever country don't know who the fuck I am. But I think Israel is the one country where a lot of people do know who the fuck I am, and they despise me. Israel, like people in America have no fucking clue who I am, right? I'm just some random fucking dickhead. People in Israel do know who the fuck I am, and they hate me. Which, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I hate Israel. I hate Zionism. I don't know what the average Israeli chud. 100% of the government knows you, though. That's for sure. How can you live in Israel and be an anti-Zionist? I'm not trying to be a dick. I don't know. I'm fucking living in the United States of America, and I'm anti-imperialist. Like, what are you talking about? There were communists that lived in Nazi Germany. Anyway, Dr. Jihad is fucking amazing. This actually had armed struggle against the Nazis, though. Yeah, if it gets to that point, what leads you to believe that no one here in America will do such a thing? The last Israeli PC you will need, me after buying this PC and criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu once.
Self-destruct mode activated. Glory to Benjamin Netanyahu.
Why does my game never lag? Why do I never lose any games? Why do I always hit perfect frame rates? Star of David gaming PC, Jewish star, custom. What the fuck is this? What?
Secure the victory royale that was promised to me 3,000 years ago.
What?
Hey gamers, Mr. Breast here, and if you buy my skin, we'll secure the victory royale that was promised to me 3,000 years ago.
It's AI. Operator skin beast mode. This is what I need. I would never, my streams would never F again if I had this. Low Kirk. Fortnite Fridays is back. The Beast of Tel Aviv. Today, we're going to be replenishing the Tamir Interceptor stock of the holy nation of Israel. Trump dances on stage. Update. 2 oil tankers on fire after being attacked in the Persian Gulf off of Iraq, according to Reuters. It's unclear who carried out the attack. This is a perfect response. Like, this is a perfect image that showcases like America's lack of interest in like all of the destabilization that we commit all around the fucking world, you know?
Well, I'm talking about his blockade. So he's reaching into the strategic reserve. So he's doing what I called for 3 days ago, but it's a little late.
Sure. Oh, Oh, Chuck Schumer. Fantastic,
many
sir.
more problems now than he's created many more problems than the Strategic Petroleum Reserve will solve, from the blockade of the Gulf of Hormuz to his reckless and unthought out war, and Americans are paying the price.
Schmuck Schumer. Seems like this Israeli memester is goated. I understood very well already from the first half second that I opened After Effects software. So it'd be wise if the next time your defense army recruits me to the filming unit or the IDF spokesperson's unit to be a video editor and to be pampered and live like a king, and not to be a grade A technician in an empty, purposeless technical array in a stinking Air Force. And that way we wouldn't have reached this situation. When I didn't think it could get any worse. Hoping that maybe you're finally understanding what a mess you're making. The American generation looks at these things with humor, but takes them seriously. No, actually, I appreciate it. I think it's funny. Oh my God. Oh, see, look, they're so mad. You must prepare another one, you genius. I'd kill myself from a low branch. Hasan electrifying my dog Faker. Hey, notice how Hebrew Twitter is really primed and tuned into the fucking dog electrocution memes? This literally looks like my replies, by the way. Isn't that strange? How this just looks like my replies? Perhaps it's because it's the same fucking people that are constantly in my replies. How strange. How strange. His dog wanted to laugh at too, but got zapped with an electric shock. Talmudic goy slop, says this Israeli replier. We'll see the one with Dr. Jihad, and seeing Hasan discover that he's Dr. Jihad is priceless. I'm crying. I hope these videos will remind you for the rest of your life how much of a genius you are. Dr. Jihad stole more content. It's heartbreaking to see this Nazi laughing. May he suffer his whole life. Oh my God, bro. Is Hassan Nasrallah laughing at the Zionists? Listen, this is a more impressive achievement than the attack on Iran. When the Goyim won't shut the fuck up. I have no idea what he's saying, but he's awesome. The Goyim have gone mad. This is literally the only people on the planet that uses in a racist way. Can you tell Benjamin Netanyahu to improve my algorithm for me? I'm sick of browsing content meant for Gentiles. You are a king, Jew or Goy. Now he discovers this video. I'm just as shocked as Kaya. He said my favorite Israeli comedy show has referenced me and believes that this Rabbi Baruch's actual TV show, but then asked if the person making the show is secretly anti-Zionist because it's too funny. You've broken him. Perhaps it's because I don't think Zionists are capable of laughter and joy. And therefore, if any dude that's making a comedy show in Israel is capable of making me laugh, they must not be a Zionist. The GIF is so fucking funny. God, they're so stupid, Lamont. I know. Did you really fall from heaven because I'm an angel? Yes. How does he have the exact timestamp ready? He's a fan, bro. American military is evacuating Iraqi bases. Oh my God. Oh my God. American military cannot leave Iraq. With an order to evacuate bases 10 days ago, military cannot leave and remain under intense fire from Iranian drones and local Shiite militias. Iran managed to open fire against, oh my God. Iran is literally liberating Sudan. Iran is freeing Sudan and liberating Iraq. How is this possible? How is this fucking possible? U.S. hegemony fake all along? Many people are asking. Iran is straight up engaging in the act of decolonialization. What the fuck? Iran managed to open fire against almost all American bases in the region to the point that the military had to abandon these bases and $1 billion loss. Patriots were powerless in the face of the number of attacks. However, I believe the anti-drone systems of these bases were not strengthened for an eventual confrontation with Iran. U.S. struggles to evacuate American personnel from facilities under fire in Iraq. Bro, this is, I'm not asking, I'm knowing. This is literally paper. This is paper tiger. This is paper tiger. Iraqis. Iraqis. The good people of Iraq. Their money is your money. Go out to the nearest American military base right now. Put your hand in the cash register. Their money is your money. Reach into the box of bullets and arm yourselves. That base is yours. Crack open the armory. Oh man. Yeah, this is becoming more and more relevant every day.
How How do I start an F-16? The question's real. I stole an F-16. Flip the master, all the lights begin to feel. I stole an F-16. Set the fuel pump, start the number 2. I stole an F-16. Engines whining as the turbines chew. I stole an F-16. Turn the RER power on bright. I stole an F-16. Horizon centered, the line set right. I stole an F-16.
Banger.
Oh, watch the gauges and the needles climb. I stole an F-16. Wait till 20, it will take its time. I stole an F-16. Throttle back down to idle mark. I stole an F-16. Jet breathes deep with a rumbling spark. I stole an F-16. Unlock the gate and push it free. I stole an F-16. The bird comes alive with a roar of glee. I stole an F-16. Roll out the REL power on bright. I stole an F-16. Horizon centered, the line set right. I stole an F-16.
This song is like if Austin and Alex had a baby together. Yeah. No one has been more correct than the Chinese evangelical dad. Yeah. Chinese international student in my class was telling me about how his evangelical dad in Beijing believes that Trump was chosen by God to win the election, but that this victory is part of a larger divine plan to destroy the United States. JD Pandan is no longer just a theory, okay? It's a reality. It's reality. JD Pandan is objectively reality. I know I've been joking about this, saying like he's undermining American imperialism every step of the way. He's destroying the heartland. He's basically launching economic missiles at every American suburb. You know, tariffs regime and Liberation Day was my first inclination that this man was genuinely trying to destroy the country. But god damn, dude, I didn't think it would be this bad. I truly had the mentality that at the very least, like the American military as it stands is like the last remaining competent institution that has like decent organizational principles, like has a function. And it's so obvious that like this last tit for tat with Iran has shown that contractor bloat and endless amounts of money that we've just burned for years while dominating people that have already been historically dominated over and over again was just a paper tiger. America was a paper tiger all along. If the Russian military conquest in Ukraine showcased that Russia also did not have the capabilities of a land invasion of a country with 40 million fucking people, this is America's own this is America's own, like, you know, war moment. Now, to be fair, a land invasion is infinitely harder to pull off than whatever the fuck we're trying to do in Iran, apparently. But considering that the Iranian capabilities are significantly better, the Iranian positions are significantly more hardened than the Ukrainian ones, that Ukraine literally only had like 10, not even 10, like 8 fucking years to basically design. Because it's not like Ukraine had like a very competent standing military force in, you know, before like 2014. They've had a very limited amount of time to like design their forces and to beef up their defenses, but they did a fairly solid job against Russia with a shit ton of American and Western military support. But they did. They were able to push back the Russian military occupation from Kiev. America, on the other hand, is having an even harder time with Iran in a much shorter period of time. With no allies whatsoever, if we're being real. Yeah, Russia also isn't planning a war with the people making all their military gear. What is this? I mean, this is fucking, you know, an exaggeration. Now it's Iran's turn, although China and Russia's helping. Fuck. Did I sneeze on myself? No, I didn't. Okay, good. Now it's Iran's turn, although China and Russia's help has been lacking and is nowhere near what Europe and US gave Ukraine. Yes. This would be like the funniest possible time for a big boat to get sucked sideways in the Suez Canal. Oh my God. True. It would collapse a trade in its entirety, I think. Paul Bless says, the longer this war continues, the more likely that this country completely implodes. Ryan Grimm reports on a new survey, finds that 50 to 42 margin, American voters believe Donald Trump went to war with Iran, at least in part to distract from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Now, that's not my favorite poll, and I don't think that's like the real reason, but fuck it. If Americans are going to be anti-war because they think Donald Trump is like going to war with Iran to hide the Epstein files, and not because of the contents of the Epstein files, potentially, so be it. I think the correct assessment here is not that Donald Trump is going to war to distract the public from the Epstein files, but going to war specifically because of the contents of the Epstein files. You know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? Like what he has done that maybe Israel has access to could have made him a more, compliant leader that would finally do the deed for Israel. Terrible economy and immense suffering for a war no one believes in. A roster of hated clowns surrounding a detached leader drowning in his own decadence. Massive scandal of the worst kind running through every nook of elite society. History tells us this is chill. It is chill. As long as Americans have their jalapeno poppers, it's chill. The moment that they don't have access to their jalapeno poppers is an entirely different conversation. America will, I think a lot of those people will finally understand what I mean when I say like, there are a lot of ISIS-style groups in this country. They just don't do ISIS-style shit because American material conditions are far more advanced and far better than the conditions in a destroyed Iraq. You will potentially find out what American ISIS, Al-Qaeda, has to say and do, right? When the jalapeno poppers are no longer flowing, you will see what those radicalized Americans with an arsenal of fucking gear and what capabilities they have in fucking shit up. We're not there yet, though. The conditions are not bad enough. Contradictions are worsening, but the conditions are nowhere near bad enough. I promise you. In some ways, if you can still go to McDonald's and eat a fucking Big Mac, or there's a new, burger that they're releasing or whatever the fuck, like that means that shit hasn't gotten to that degree yet. Shit hasn't gotten there yet. Enough people aren't mad enough yet. It's not there yet. Could get there, though.
If they try to hit us back, have you been briefed about how many Iran sleeper cells there could be inside the U.S. right now?
I have been, and a lot of people came in through Biden with this stupid open border. But we know where most of them are. We've got our eye on all of them, I think.
Is it dozens?
They came in through the open border policies of Sleepy Joe Biden, one of the worst president in the history of our country. And we've got our eyes on all of them. But the war itself is being prosecuted at a level that nobody's seen before. It's pretty amazing to watch. Years that way.
Pretty amazing to watch is right. It's amazing. I love watching it. Trump on Newsom had a statement. We'll look at that in a second. IRGC Navy Commander Alireza Tangshiri says, we guarantee any security of any oil tanker under any flag that can convince an American destroyer to escort it through the Strait of Hormuz. That's not real. There's no way that that's a real statement that they made. Yeah. There is, Iran war briefing day 12 with Michael Clark.
We've seen in particular tremendous number of strikes now in southern Beirut, where the Israelis are really going for Hezbollah in Beirut, and they're targeting particular floors or particular residential buildings where they think that some of the people they're after are sheltering or hiding or plotting one way or another. The war in Lebanon is set to get a great deal worse, whatever happens to the war elsewhere in the region. But Tel Aviv has also come under attack, and the Iranians are giving particular attention to try to hit back at Israel with all that they can, insofar as they've got the ordnance to do it. Pete Hegseth made it clear yesterday that the war would intensify today. He said the most intensive day of the war is coming up, and that's more or less what we've seen today. In terms of the number of attacks, the amount of ordnance delivered, I think he was right, and he implies it will get even higher yet. However, the Strait of Hormuz is now the most critical area of the war. It is, in every sense of the word, the trump card which the Iranians can play, because the Strait of Hormuz is a really important waterway for obvious reasons. We always say that the narrow Strait of Hormuz is at its narrowest between there and there, 33 kilometers. It's actually a great deal narrower than that, because the shipping route includes an in lane and an out lane. And the lane going in is 3 kilometers wide, and the lane coming out is only 3 kilometers wide, and there is a 5-kilometer separation zone between them. So the area they can use of that 33 kilometers is only 11 kilometers. And big tankers, big 500,000-ton tankers almost, and certainly even the smaller tankers, 150,000 tons, they have to do a very sharp turn in or out of the Gulf in order to conform with the lanes and not get stuck into the shallower waters. And when they get round the tip, then they have to go straight, because the water down here is too shallow. 25 meters just south, 60 meters further here, too shallow for some of the really big ships. So they have to go in a straight line as the lanes open out right along the Iranian shore. They have to present themselves as targets to anything along the Iranian shore that wants to try to pick them off. And in fact, I think the Iranians would almost welcome the Americans taking much more aggressive action in the Gulf itself, because in a way they'd be saying, come in, come and try, come and get low down and dirty and fight us, because if we do that, you'll take some losses. We'll achieve our objective, our political objective of hurting you in some way, in ways that hurt President Trump in the Washington nexus of politics that exists around this whole war. And that, for the Iranians, is a very big advantage as this war goes on. And they've already begun to use that advantage by striking, in this case, a Thai ship, and there it is, hit by drones. Drones are unlikely to sink a ship, but they can certainly set it on fire. They can cause a great deal of damage, and for the shipping company, and of course for the mariners on the ship, that just becomes unacceptable. So meanwhile, what the Americans say is that they're hitting mine-laying ships, which may be true, but a lot of these mine-laying ships are actually just motorboats, because if the Iranians want to mine the straits themselves, mine the Gulf, they only have to use floating mines, which are very easy, and they simply have to toss them off the back of a small craft. Floating mines are a problem around the Gulf. They could go anywhere. From the Iranian point of view, that achieves the objective of making the Gulf a dangerous place for all shipping. So however the United States gets hold of these or destroys these smaller craft, the chances are the Iranians will still find ways of dropping mines into the Gulf. President Trump last night threatened all sorts of fire and fury if the Iranians mined the Gulf. And so within hours of President Trump making his threats, 3 ships were attacked, the Iranians making it very clear what they think about his threats. And so here we are on day 12, and it's fairly clear that the United States has a very specific military strategy, but not really a political strategy. Whereas the Iranians, they have a pretty clear political strategy, but a rather disaggregated military strategy. This is what is known as asymmetric warfare. That's the way it works.
This morning, the US releasing new video of strikes on Iranian naval ships, saying it's destroyed 16 mine-laying vessels near the critical Strait of Hormuz. This as several cargo ships in the strait hit by unknown projectiles, according to the British Maritime Authority, some reportedly setting fires on board. All amid growing concerns over the region's oil supply and reports Iran's planning to use mines.
Some rich Iranian dude is losing his mind seeing his prized innocent jet ski tomahawked on global news. Oh, Jesus, dude. This guy's my new favorite Twitter poster. He's Jordanian. All his tweets are bangers. A literal war going on, yet my country's more concerned about Doki Doki Literature Club. Public Security Directorate warns against electronic game Doki Doki Literature Club and similar games to it. We call on parents to monitor and follow up on the games and content that children... Oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? By the way, JJK is so fucking fire. I love this new season. I love the direction that they took. That's totally separate from everything else, obviously, but Jujutsu Kaisen, the latest season of Jujutsu Kaisen is peak, dude. Straight up. I love his backstory as well. Fucking awesome. I I rewatched it. I rewatched Jujutsu Kaisen, and it's so fucking, it's good. It's good. I'm glad I rewatched it. It's so fucking good. His domain is cool. His backstory is really fucking cool. Hey, did Ben-Gvir died or no? I don't think so, chatter. I don't think he died. You know, I hate to report this, but he's probably alive. Oh, report. Iran has offered post-war concessions to Kurdish parties in an effort to keep them out of the widening U.S.-Israel war, but Kurdish leaders have not responded, the Amargi reports. The report says that Iranian Kurdish groups have been in contact with the U.S. officials about possible cooperation. Even as Washington sends mixed signals, President Donald Trump said on March 6th it would be wonderful if the Kurdish forces crossed into Iran, but later said that the U.S. was not looking for the Kurds to enter the war. Meanwhile, Ali Larijani, Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, warned Kurdish parties that if they enter the conflict, they will be dealt with. Kurdish parties have so far taken no concrete action, citing the lack of U.S. security guarantees against Iranian retaliation. Estimates suggest 5,000 to 10,000 Kurdish fighters are based in Iraq's Kurdistan region. FBI Director Kash Patel fired the entire Iran-focused counterintelligence team, CI-12, including agents who investigated Trump's classified documents just days before the U.S. launched strikes on Iran. Hell yeah. Wait, Hasan, he's actually dead?
האיראנים אומרים שאתה מת. כל האיראנים שהפיצו את הפייק שאני מת.
Bro, why you gotta fucking make me... Why you gotta bum me out, dude? Why you gotta fucking bum me out, dude? God damn it. That shit sucks, dude. Fucking... I don't even want to think about that. Spain permanently withdrew its ambassador to Israel on Tuesday's diplomatic standoff worsened. We covered that already. Oh, there's also this. So yesterday, I was talking about Shoykot, and Emily Mills. Did Hasan the Hun talk to Shoykot about Rebellion Pact Policy Institute with Cenk or Brianna or not? I haven't watched the show. Also in 2022, Shoykot was the director of the Rebellion Pact Institute alongside Cenk and Brianna Wu. Ryan says, I see that Mills keeps bringing this up as if it's somehow unexplained. In 2022, Brianna Wu had not yet become an unapologetic champion of genocide and was fairly standard progressive democratic operative. Working a pact with her and Cenk Uygur would not have been unusual. The other side of the story, of course, is that I literally, once Brianna Wu became this fucking Zionist monster, I told Cenk to literally drop her, which I don't even know when he actually did. But last but not least, I don't give a fuck if he worked on the Rebellion Pact. I don't care. But a lot of people are talking about some of the candidates that we've had on the broadcast. A lot of people are talking about it. Scott Wiener is running scared. He actually came out with a video shitting on Shoykot. Guys, for people that don't know, he has all the fucking backing, okay? He was AOC's first chief of staff. He literally is responsible. Shoykot was that literally built Justice Democrats. And then he transitioned into being AOC's chief of staff. He was AOC's first chief of staff. Okay? He's legit. It's very fucking annoying that people don't know anything and are like, oh, he's like really rich or whatever, and getting mad at all this shit. Elizabeth Warren moment in Illinois 9. Oh my God, don't even get me fucking started on this. Like, I also don't even want to shit on like Bushra because I think she's like a very nice person.